Alrighty, we are getting started. First, follow along guided practice in Revit. And what I would like us to do is reference this PDF here. I'll release this to you guys. You guys will have this. You might hear me talk about Skills USA in class. This is an old Skills USA competition. And I think the kids get 5 to 6 hours, depending on whether or not or how long of a lunch they take, at the Skills USA competition to draw a house. And this is the house they're doing. All the information they need is right here. What we're going to do is we're going to reference this document as our practice project. I think this is just good real world example. And it gives us all the information we need so we get to practice interpreting a set of plans and applying it into a Revit model. So, first thing we're doing here, new model. I'm going to stick to our residential project. Okay. And right now that doesn't mean too much to us. Just know that we are going to be residential. And one thing I would like to remind you guys to do is go to the View tab, User Interface, and make sure you're binding your keyboard shortcuts. Okay, so you can get these on Google Classroom as well. Import, and then go to your downloads, and you can find them in here. Here, you can see the ones I've already uploaded. Okay, as I do keybinds, you guys are going to see, or I'll say them. You guys might be able to see what I'm doing, but it's helpful if you have the same keybinds. So, first video, just getting the project set up. This is grids and levels. Okay, so I should have presentation pulled up, not on the right side. Slide, silly me. I want to be. Where am I supposed to be? Here we go. Levels, foundations, grids, and footings. Okay, so talking levels and grids. Levels in Revit used to determine the heights of certain features in a model, commonly for foundation, grade, wall, and roof heights. Okay, so sometimes things are going to be at different heights. This is for us to figure out what we want those heights to be. Grids are used to outline building structures. We use these to locate where our walls, posts, beams, or any system really is supposed to be. You can base it all off of your grids. So right here, first thing I would like to get started off with is levels. If we go to our architecture tab and look all the way to the right, we see the level command, but I can't use it. Okay. You need to, in order to view your levels, you go to one of two places. You should be able to view them from your 3D, and you see all these different levels. Okay, we're going to talk about some of those and how to mess with them. But I would like us to go to our south elevation, and this is really where we're going to mess with our levels. Okay. So, as I said, if I go to my presentation, use to determine the heights of certain features in a model. If we remember our elevation view, so our south elevation is what it looks like as if we were standing on the street looking at a house. Okay, there's no structure yet, but we can see the different levels. Now, this would be a super tall house. This would be a 2-story full basement house. We are not going to be working with that. So, first thing I would like you guys to do is right click, and there is a delete button. It's going to ask you if you want to confirm delete. Yeah, just get rid of it. We don't need it. And we're going to change the name of second floor to roof. Okay. Yes, I would like to rename corresponding views. As I've said before, Revit is a global program. Okay, corresponding views. It keeps track of all this data of everything. I would like it to all update, so I'm going to say yes. Now, I wonder, that's locked in. That means nothing. Oh, okay. Um, the rest of these, first floor at height 0, 0. I actually don't like that one too much. We are going to call that. Well, I'll wait till we change that one because I need to put some more thought. Okay, we have two here, one calling out the top of our footing, one calling out the bottom of our footing. There's no reason to have two of those in there, I don't think. For what we're doing, top of footing is going to be acceptable. Um, and then basement floor height. Okay. Again, this one's redundant. Typically, your basement is going to begin at the top of your footing. This one's different because they're accounting for the height of the floor slab. The way we're going to do this, we don't need that one. That's going to be redundant information. Okay. So heights that we're starting out with. Where's our first floor going to start? Okay. So this is the top of our floor system. Where's our foundation going to end? And then where is the bottom of our basement going to be, or the top of footing? Those heights are the same. So what I'd like to do is go look at our document here, and there's some notes under construction materials that tell us what we need to do. Okay. Um, Looking at the house that we're going to be drawing, there's a lot going on. Okay, there is an original house, and then there's an addition to this house that we're drawing. So there's going to be some different heights, different levels, different things going on. We're not going to add those yet. Right now, we're just focusing on foundation and um, basically up to the first floor system. So if I go back up, look at my notes, what are we reading? If that's wall heights, we're not messing with wall heights yet. Okay, the original house, this square right here, is original. The original house has a crawl space beneath it. The foundation walls are 8-inch thick, cast in place concrete with a 24-inch by 12-inch concrete T footing. Assume the frost line is 36 inches below grade. Okay, let's crack down some of this information. Foundation wall is 8-inch thick, cast in place concrete with a 24 by 12 T footing. Okay, that's all design stuff. All I need to know is what level is it going to be at. Frost line, 36 inches below grade. Grade is another term for the earth. All right, so how high up does the dirt around the house go? Um, Assume the frost line is 36 inches below grade. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Meaning whatever I set my grade to, we're going to go 36 inches or 3 feet down, and that's going to be where the top of the footing or the bottom of the wall for my crawl space is. So to get started, let's go to Revit. We need to make a new grid line, or a new level line, my bad. And I'm going to make it right here. I'm going to rename it to be grade. And where do I want my grade to be? Do I need foundation? Let me think about this for a second. Yes. Okay. Generally, your foundation is going to extend 8 to 12 inches above grade. I'm going to add a dimension, and right there I used one of my keybinds. Annotate tab, linear dimension. Okay, my keybind for that is DD. Align, sorry, my bad. Align dimension. You click each element, and notice I can't change that dimension. It's not going to let me. Revit is a little different than Inventor. You select the element you would like to move, and then you can click the dimension. I'm going to set it to 1 foot, but notice I can still go back and change it. I'm going to undo that. In Revit, dimensions are not set in stone. Okay. If I would like this dimension to be set in stone, to be fixed, to always be 1 foot, I have to select the dimension and then lock it. Okay, now if I drag this, that will always stay 1 foot, which is what I want. Notice our levels are intersecting here. I'm going to select this level, click the squiggly, and now I can drag that down so it's readable. Okay, this level will now always be a foot under my foundation level. Okay, we don't know how thick our floor system is going to be yet, so I'm not going to worry about this height. All I know is that the top of my foundation is always going to be a foot over grade. And then, what other piece of information did we see? 36 inches below grade. Okay, meaning the top of my footing needs to be 3 inches or 36 inches from the top of my foundation wall. So I'm going to add another dimension. You can go annotate tab, align dimension, or if you have the keybinds, DD. I'm going to select the level that I would like to move, and I can click the dimension and tell it 36 inches or 3 feet. Select my dimension and lock it. Okay, I now know that. This is getting a little messy here. I'm going to clean this up, just make it easier to read. Okay. Top of my foundation, and I'm going to change this name here. Top of foundation to top of footing will always be 3 foot apart. That's perfect. That's what I wanted. Okay. Let's keep looking. The addition has a full basement. So instead of a crawl space, it's a full basement. Here is my original house. The addition is right here. Okay, this rectangle is going to have a full basement. I forgot to keep reading. Mm-mm-mm. Full basement walls are 8-inch thick, cast in place. Give me details about my footing. We don't need those yet. We're just doing levels today. Levels and grids. Concrete walls 8 foot high from the top of the footing. So what does that tell me? That tells me that I need to add a new level for my other foundation walls. So I go to architecture, level. I'm going to I like keeping all my grids the same size. Makes it nice to look at. I'm going to change the name here. We're going to call this TO footing crawl space. We're going to call this one TO for top of footing, abbreviated as FTG, and then we'll just call that full. And what was our height for this one? 8 foot. Dimension, dimension, place the dimension, select the level I would like to move, select my dimension, 8 feet, lock it. Okay, so I have a level for my crawl space. I have a level for my full basement. It's telling me that my basement floor is going to be 4 inches thick. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm not going to add a new level 4 inches above. I could if I really wanted to. And what I'm going to do real quick is just confirm exterior elevations. It's giving me details for the views eventually. I don't think there's any more information. What we have successfully done is added levels for our foundation. Later, we're going to come back in and add new levels for our exterior walls. But right now, one step at a time, we now have the heights for our levels for our foundation walls and for our footings. Next step, grids. Back up here. Okay, grids. Use to outline the building structure. So all I'm doing, outlining. I'm going to come back here. And all I'm going to do for now is I'm going to outline the original house and the addition. Because next step is foundation walls and footings. I'm just doing these two structures, placing grids. I'm going to go back to Revit. I could place grids from my elevation, but it's kind of tricky to see. I'm going to go to my first floor, grid, and what I want to do, we're going to place the geometry, we're going to place our grid lines before dimensioning them. So I see for this side of the wall, one grid line, for this side of the wall, one grid line, and then I need three, one here, and one here. Just lining them up with our dimension lines. So, architecture, grid, two vertical, three horizontal. I'm going to go this way. Okay, now what's important with our grids, one, naming convention, but two, my grid bubbles should be either on the left or top. If my grid bubbles are on the bottom or right, you got to flip them around. Okay, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for on top or on left. Traditionally, all dimensions, if you can help it, either need to be read from the top or from the left side, on the left side. Okay, I'm okay with these two being called grid 1 and 2. I would like to change these. A, grid B, grid C. Okay, I'm outlining my structure. Here will be the original house. Here will be the addition with the basement. Now that I have all of my grids in place, I can start dimensioning. DD or go annotate and select your align dimension. I think the default, I believe the default keybind is DI, but I didn't like reaching my hand all the way across my keyboard to do that. Okay, I got some dimensions in place. I'm going to go check. My width should be 29 foot 8. Select the grid I would like to move. Select the dimension. 29 feet, 8 inches. Wonderful. Select my dimension. Lock it. Not all dimensions you're going to want to lock. Grid lines should stay the same the whole time. Okay. We do not want our grids to ever move. This is what we're basing the entire design off of. So our grids are going to stay locked. As we do other things, we may choose to leave dimensions unlocked. Original house, 27 feet, 7 inches. I would like this one to move. 27 feet, 7 inches. Lock that in. We're going to drag those down. And I already know I'm going to need to drag this one up. To drag them, you select the grid and then click in that little bubble. 12 foot 1 for the height of the addition. Locked, locked, locked. Okay, if I look at my 3D, okay. Here are my levels in the 3D. Notice when I look in my south view, I can see my grid lines, but I only see two of them. Okay, depending on which elevation you're in, you're only going to see a couple of the grids. Okay, right now I'm in my south elevation, so this is as if I'm looking at my building from the south. If I look at my first floor, this represents where I'm looking from, okay, for my south elevation. You can see this is the line, this is the width of the elevation, and it's looking this way. It has no clip. We're going to leave it like that for now. We'll learn more about those later, but just know that this elevation is looking from the south or bottom of my screen. If I was going to go from the east or the right, I would see my other grid lines. Okay. I think that is all I'm looking to cover right now, grids and levels. We will add more later as we continue to do other things. For now, all we need right here, easy peasy.